Test, test, test. All right, I think that we are live. Cool. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Got it. Cool. All right, we're in. All right, so let's see. Let's recap a little bit about where we left off last time. So my name is Cecil Worsley, and I'm the founder of a company called Wrecking Ball, and we make a product called SafetyNow. And so a little bit about what we do and what we're here to do on this channel, and at least what we're doing here today, we're supposed to do today, is the company is about safety orientation management in the commercial construction space. So our goal is to make job site safety better by enabling workers to like subcontractor workers or like your construction worker that walks on the job site safer by enabling them to self-service safety orientations to speed up the process, to make it more consistent, and help them comprehend the information better. And so this channel is about my journey in building that company, and we've been working on this for about 2.5 years or so, from like the very first commit of the code and the very first attempt. So, so today we're going to be doing some interesting work with some stuff that we've been wanting to do for a really long time. That being, we want to add job-specific safety training to our LMS, our custom LMS that we built into the system. And so today we're going to be doing a little bit of coding. We're going to be writing some Ruby, working with Ruby on Rails, and some React to create this feature. And so take a little tour here in a minute and show what we got so far, and kind of illustrate a little bit more about where we're going to go by hopefully the end of this video or the end of today, though it might turn into a series. We'll have to see. So without further ado, we'll share the screen here. And yeah, okay, cool. So we got the screen. I'm going to bump up some of the font for everybody that you can read and so that I can read. All right, so let's do, just type in font, use custom font. We really just want to bump that up. Font, sure, whatever. Here we go, font size, let's go to 18. Apply, see what that looks like. Yeah, that ought to do it. Cool. All right, so on the left is obviously the code, and now on the right over here is the product. So this is a quick little snapshot overview of what we have right now so far. So first thing I need to do is I need to restart this server and load up our YouTube database, which I should have already done. So we are, again, over here on the right, we can So yeah, we can see some dashboard information, like all the orientations that we've taken, like different languages that the orientations have been taken in. This is just all dummy data, of course. It's gonna reload here. See, I might have to log out actually. And we're gonna be using the Brave browser because I've got some weird issue in Chrome where it just doesn't want to load localhost in any kind of timely manner. I have no idea what's going on with that, but hopefully they'll get it figured out. Some update will fix it. But you know, we're sitting here, we've had a request for this particular feature for a really long time, and maybe this failed. There we go. So it's been something we've been wanting to do for a really long time. So right now, the way it works is a worker will walk into a job site, they'll scan a QR code, and then that QR code will take them to that job site's specific orientation. So every job site's different, and so they all need a different orientation. But one thing it doesn't do is that if you work for a particular subcontractor, so like if you work for the plumbing company or if you work for the concrete company, you take the same orientation, but maybe there's specific things that we want to inform or to quiz those particular people about. And so we're going to be adding that into the product so that it's not just one size fits all. If they're in plumbing or if they're roofers, for example, then they're going to have maybe some extra pages, some extra slides, just some extra information that they're going to be quizzed on, and so on and so forth. So today we'll be implementing that. And so on the right here, and I can zoom in just a little bit, we've got our training. We call it Hello YouTube. We got debug turned on, it would seem. Take that away so it can be a little birdie. Okay, so let's pull this in. A little bit less of that. And then, there we go. So here we've got all our different pages, and they're titled based on whatever the text field is included there for them. So we've got 2 pages here. We just threw an image on there, showed how that worked in the last video or in the last stream. And then we have a quiz question here. And so then that goes into, making sure that you've comprehended the information that was presented to you. But one thing that we want to do here is we want to add sort of a special page where, so like come down here, it doesn't show up, so that's something we'll have to fix. But there's also like a really low resolution or really zoomed in. Yes, still looks good. Let me look at one thing. Drag some stuff over. Let's see, get these things out of the way. Okay, there we go. All right, so we want to add like a JSSP. So that stands for job specific safety training. So that's kind of what's known. It's sort of an industry term. And so we want to add a JSSP page, which will essentially add like a jump to a different training. So, we would have more than one training over here. And this would essentially sort of link to or embed a different training within it, so that we can create a training that specifically only has, these questions for electric or these questions for concrete or roofers or whatever you want to, however you want to think about it. So, this is sort of our editor for our custom LMS, our learning management system that we built ourselves. And again, to recap, the reason that we built it ourselves versus use a third party is because we want to have full control over it. So when somebody comes to us with this specific feature or another specific feature, we don't want to have any delay in implementing it. We don't want to have to hold into some other company to implement that thing or implement some sort of weird and wacky workaround for it. So we're fully in control here, and that's why we did it that way. So it's taken a lot of work to get to what you see here, and we'll see some of the code like you can see over here on the left. So the idea again is to go in here, add a new page, add a JSSP jump page. That'll go to a different training. So we'll need a couple of things for that. And I've done a little bit of work, just a little bit, to get that some boilerplate. So I've added this option here that we didn't have previously. And then really that's almost it, but we can go into see what we've done. So if we go to we will go to let's see. So everything used to be in this one enormous file, and it's, you know, over 1,000 lines long still, but we've broken them out to a bunch of different components. So here we've got, you know, our editor component. So that is the actual text editor that we have here. That kind of gives you sort of that rich text editing. And that's sort of the setup when we use the Quill.js editor for that. And then the React library for it. So we've broken this out to many different files now because it was just one big giant glob file. So we needed to do a little refactoring. So did that. That's sort of boring work that I did before the video. But now we want to kind of get back to work. So we want to figure out what to do when we click on this JSSP page. So let's see what that does now. So we go back in here to our main maker. We'll search for JSSP page, and then we've got, this is all React code, and then we use Tailwind components made by the Tailwind team to sort of manage a lot of the UI for us, just because we don't need to be distracted with that. We've got a job to do. We've got, you know, to get a UI up and running. We don't need to be fiddling around with a bunch of CSS and styling stuff. So when you click on this link, it will prevent default, so we don't want to actually link anywhere or reload the page in any way. We want to create a new JSSP page. So we'll jump into that. That will call create a new page, which will return to us a new page, and we can see what that looks like. So that will create a new page ID, so it's unique. And this is super rudimentary and not smart at all, but it gets the job done. I believe, I'm actually pretty certain that there's some issues with it, but it doesn't really matter. And it will just return this object that's, you know, got all these special keys that are used to render out that page in the maker, and then in the viewer, which is where you actually, the orientation, the handle Z orientation, that renders all that out. So let's see. So new things we've added here would be, we've added a custom type. So the type here in this particular case would be link to here. And then we've got another key that is linked to, and then that'll be set to whatever it'll be set to. So that'll be set to like maybe the ID of the JSP training. So that's what this will stand for. And so we need to kind of build that infrastructure. We're probably going to have to create a category for training. Now in the database, the trainings are called quizzes. Oops. Let's reload this here. Here we go. So tables, and then we've got quizzes. So this is where all this information is stored. And so we can take, this is the latest one. So we'll take, this is sort of the JSON that sort of is used to render out the orientation, both here in the editor and then also in the orientation displayed to the worker. So if we take this, we can create a new scratch, and we can sort of, oops, we can sort of inspect it. So here we've got our first question, and they're all called question. This name is really never revealed to anyone. It's mostly vanity, or I just decided not to use it. If there was question data here, if there was a question, you'd see it. So here you've got, I'll pull this page up. Do you have high-vis gear? Yes and no. You see the option is yes, and then the option is no. This is the actual answer. This is not the answer. Template data, so this would include the actual content. and then the translated content. Now there's some issues with this data structure in that it doesn't really support more than one other language past English, but at least for now, that's okay. I'm sure we'll have to change it down the line. This determines whether or not we need to translate when we go to publish. So if this is, if we've already translated before, which we have, you can see, we don't need to do it again. So there's no point in making that API call out to our translation provider, which is Amazon or Google. It's just a sort of a little optimization. If there was an image, there would be an image link or path there. So anyways, it's really quickly what a quiz looks like. And what we're going to do is we're going to go and create a training or a quiz, sort of the same thing, that we're going to embed here. So the way to do that is to just go, at least for now, is to create a training, new training, and then we'll call this JSSP concrete. And we want to do blank page. And now I might have broken this. Let's see. So we'll get to I guess, let's see. Yeah, so it looks like that's broken for now. But if we go into the index here, we look for new page. What is it? Or blank page, rather. And we click on create new page. Okay, gotcha. So we need to insert new page. So the API has changed a little bit since we touched this last. So we'll let that load back up here and we'll jump into it. So yeah, I didn't really do any conversating about, you know, the channel like as a whole, but my point is I just wanted to kind of get right into some of the work because, you know, the idea of this channel is not that it's, you know, its own thing entirely and then like I go and I spend my time doing just this channel. It's just that I do my work and I broadcast the work that I'm doing as I'm doing it. So, you know, when I can, you know, there's some things within the company that I can't share exactly, but I'll certainly try my best to, you know, come up with some pseudonyms for different companies and different people who are, you know, involved in this or helping me do it. So, but yeah, so it's time to get to work because it's almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon and we have a lot of things to get done. So anyhow, we have now, so we got our new training. We don't have a title yet. So let's do roofers. So we've got roofers. Let's do blank page. So we got a blank page here. Now we see this, the title is filled in. And so we'll say roofers training page 1. We'll copy that and we'll make a few of them here. Page 2, and we'll have a page 3. And then we'll be good there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and publish this. There might be some discrepancy of like, can you insert a quiz that has not been published yet? Probably not. Or like when you are publishing the parent quiz or the parent training, does it also publish the child training? I don't know yet, but we're gonna kind of roll with it and we're gonna see what we get. That's kind of like part of my philosophy is like, you know, you don't always want to just like jump right into writing code when you have an idea. But that's what we're doing today. So we're just going to see what we end up with. So, okay, so we've got our, we'll call this child just to be really, really verbose with it. Okay, so child has popped in there, and then this will be the parent. So in here, we want to insert a new page that's JSSP. So when we click on that, we want to somehow allow the user to select from a list of trainings that they want to choose from. So do we do that before we insert the page, or do we make it optional? Because if we want to pop up a modal, that's just kind of more work, and we've already got this like sort of this sort of column here on the right that just sort of deals with all that stuff. So let's do it that way at first. And if we hate it, then we'll go back and we'll undo it. So we inserted a JSSP page. You can see that the page type is listed here, link to. Now that's not very friendly to our user, but we'll leave it for now. We don't need to go and fix every tiny little minute thing. So we have our sidebar over here. So there's really no styling that you can do. The only thing that you can really do, or should be able to do rather, is just pick from that list of trainings. Now this sidebar sort of applies to everything. You can see that because there's no image within this design. So if we were to switch here, there's an image, and now we show the image controls. But we want to hide the others for the most part. So let's see. We've got our document type. We've got our template type here, so template. And then you can select and change your template here. So let's go with template. So I don't think we want to put this on the template because that doesn't quite make sense. But templates have this interesting thing called controls, which controls what shows up on the sidebar. You know, so you can see here in text only, there are really no controls that you can pick from because there's really nothing that you can do. You can only really add questions. But if you have media, so media on the bottom, then you have the media control. So this controls the sidebar. So is the sidebar part of this? That's the question. That is the question. Let's think about this for a minute. So, so our template should be kind of ignored. I don't think that this should be part of a template or part of the sidebar. So now I'm kind of back to the modal idea. Let's see where that sidebar is, because that's also something that should probably be broken out. But it might be a little bit more of a lift and kind of outside the scope of what we want to do today. So if we go back into the maker, we want to look for waypoint. So this is where the sidebar starts. And it goes all the way down, down, down here. It's a lot. This should probably be broken out. We have other modals. We have like a publish modal that pops up. But I'm thinking that we want to make a special kind of template. Let's just play around with it. Let's just give it a shot and see what we get. So let's make a link to template. See what happens here. See how we feel about it. So controls, none for now. Name will be link to. Can have questions. No. Component. So this will be what actually gets displayed here in the middle. So we're creating our own modal here, or component. So we'll return something simple so we can see it. We'll just do h2 and we'll say this is a link to template. Let's see what happens. One thing that would be mildly convenient for us here is like if we were to push on to this history bar up here so that you can have a page pre-selected if you wanted to share it with somebody, but it's a different problem, different day. Let's see. So yeah, here's our link to layout. Select that. Okay, and then that's exactly what we thought we'd get. We'll copy some wrappers, which should probably be hoisted up. Or whatever the component is should be wrapped in them, but I think a couple of them have some different variations just based on the type of content that they have. So we'll load that. Okay, so now we've kind of got our border here. Again, this is something that would be displayed to the user. We obviously do not want that. So let's keep going. Now, one thing I'm noticing is that even though this says can have questions as false, we still have this question drop down. I think that might be a little bit of a bug. So maybe we can see what happens there. Okay, so questions. Select. So we probably just need to say we need to get a copy of the current template and look at all this junk. We've got to pull this out at some point. There are a lot of inline stuff, a lot of inline functions that we don't want hanging around because it's hard to figure out where you are. But we'll look past it today and hopefully y'all can follow along. And if not, maybe somebody will comment, subscribe, like the video. So the way to get the template is to get templates page.template. So we should probably just have that as a variable. So now we've got this. We'll go back down to question choices and we'll wrap this up. So if template.can have questions, then we want to show that. This is part of it as well, it looks like. Current page, if it's not equal to document, what really this should say is, let's pop this out. And we will drop it into here. And we'll say if type, say template.can have questions, then and only then will we show that bit. So that should clear that up. A little sidetracked, but it was bothering me. So there's an error here in index. Oh, so we mean current page there. So we want current page. And didn't like that either. So what's going on here? So template let's see, where is current page set? So current page template, current page.template. So that should have worked. You can always put a breakpoint here and reload, see what happens. So current page, okay, so there isn't a current page and then we're, okay, well that makes sense. So we'll just optional chain that, and then this will look for null from templates. See how that goes. That might not be the best move. Okay, so yeah, now that's gone. So we filtered that stuff out. Let's get rid of this bit. We have a layout that has a type link to, don't love it. Don't love it. I still want to have this thing displayed to the person making the orientation, or the maker, whatever you want to call it, the user. So let's say this is a link. We want to go to spam call. Okay. So we can call this just a paragraph, and we can say choose a training to link to below. And so here we can list all the available options. And so we might have to actually go back to the server and get those options, but we'll sketch it out. So to this component, we'll give it this component, because this is the only component that would really care about that. I think we can just keep it here. So we'll say we want to use effect here and on load. So, you know, if you're not familiar with React, there's 1.5 million videos on YouTube to help you like get up and started and running. This is not like really a here's how you write code channel. This is like you're interested in starting your own company and like you can sit here and watch me do it live. This is not you know, here's how syntax works or here's like the best coding practices. This is like about getting it done in like a reasonable manner. So I'll assume that you know JavaScript and React, and I will sail right through all those fundamental basics that I'm not going to cover. So now we need to go out to the server. We need to get a list of all of the appropriate. And the only thing about this is that every single time they click on this page, you're going to go out to the server to get the latest. So if it's unmounted, can we use like a memo here? But is it going to memoize something? We'd have to put it in like, no, we want this. We want this because like if they get here and then there's like no available templates for them to choose from, then we're going to want to go and refetch. And so like it's just cheap to go and refetch, and it probably won't take very long. And the result set will be like fairly minimal. So it's not that big of a deal. If we can figure out how to memo it, then we will. But again, if there's nothing for them to choose from, or they haven't created a child training yet, then we want to refresh every time they come back to it so that they see the updates. So we'll do fetch API, and fetch API is this is a utility that I created, and I create it every time I create a project. I should probably put it in some sort of you know, package, but let's see. Yeah, so fetch API down here. This will do like some basic stuff. So like we have CSRF protection, of course, and so we'll go and get that CSRF token from like the document, HTML document. And then it'll put in the headers and like create all that sort of boilerplate stuff for you so that we don't have to go and deal with that every time we want to make an API call. So we just pull in fetch API, and then we're probably going to put this at an API endpoint called quizzes, if I had to guess. But we'll go with that for now. It'll just be a standard GET request, and then we'll get the response. So usually we send back a success. I don't know if that's the way to play it, but we'll roll with it. And then we'll just do quizzes to keep with the naming. And then we'll set quizzes to quizzes. And then presumably we would catch anything that went wrong. And then we would like log some errors, like set error here, and then we would display reload button. But we'll do that last. So now we need some state, so const, and then we want quizzes and set quizzes. I know I can hear all the choir of people saying like you have to do React this way, you have to do React that way. Don't care. Couldn't care less. This is the way I do it. It works. We get the job done. People are happy with it. I'm happy with it. That's what matters. So we'll use state, and then default state will just have an array so that we can always iterate over it like we're going to do here. Quizzes map. And we will, now you could just do like, what's the proper term? Like not have like an actual function body here. You could just do, just put your HTML here. But I swear every time I do that, there is a time where either I need to debug something or like add some kind of variable here. And then I've got to go and like, you know, type out the rest of the function. And I don't like the back and forth, even though it looks prettier. Does that make sense? Nobody's listening, so it doesn't really matter, but one day. So let's see. So quizzes, we'll have a quiz here, and quiz has a title, I believe. And we'll put on like some basic styling for this so it's not horrible to look at. So we'll have padding that's like a lot, border, gray 800, and then hover will be border yellow 500, and then hover, we'll just do pointer cursor. Again, this is Tailwind CSS if you haven't given that a shot. I like it, some people don't. That's what we use here. I get the arguments for and against. Excuse me. What else do we want to do? That should be fine, probably, right? So now let's figure out what's in this path. I know that it exists, I think, so API v1 quiz scheduler. And so we've got all this. The index already returned some good stuff. So let's just go to it. Quizzes. And before I go insane, I'm going to have to get Chrome. Chrome extension, a JSON Chrome extension. Again, we're using Brave because it seems to load a lot faster than regular Chrome does now. Yeah, add to Chrome. I don't know if this is exactly what I have, but it's close enough. Add. Okay, so it's there. There we go. So this is prettier to look at, right? So now we can just iterate over these quizzes, and like pull out the titles. And I know that we display some children in here. So like a child, like we have a parent-child relationship in this table, and I believe that they are embedded. Like these are the parents, obviously, and then if it had children, then I think it would be nested in here. Or maybe it's this parent ID that refers to it. So we're gonna have to make sure that we're not choosing like unpublished children. So we'll just keep going and we'll figure that out there. So we are in templates, quizzes, success is not returned. I guess a success is as in it's like a 200 is returned, right? So that should get that done. So let's save it and see what we get. Okay, so we get our thing listed and it looks like shit, but let's fix that. No, we want, I've got like a little helper component called Flexer because I find myself using Flexbox constantly. Is it the most efficient? I wonder. But again, that's not what we're focusing on. So this will default to, I think it'll justify in between and it'll center the items. So but we actually don't want to flex, do we? I think we might just want to div. Let's see. I get us flexing this. We don't really want to flex here. So these are like those little nuances. That's like why this isn't always wrapped around every single component. Maybe some portions of it could be, but it is what it is for now. So okay, this is like basically what we wanted. So if we click on one of these, what should happen? On click, let's just say choose quiz, and then the argument will be quiz.id. And now we might not want to show all these quizzes because there's like some other stuff we'll have to filter out, but again, not the point. We need to create this format, or I mean, this function, create it, put it there. So that's the quiz ID, and then this will probably honestly just call a callback that we will have presented or given to this component. So call it select quiz. We might just call it directly, honestly. I can't imagine what else we would need to do. And then we'll probably also have a prop called selected quiz. So then that way we could like put a check mark beside the one that's selected now. So we'll have to pipe that in some way. And now here comes like some bullshit, like some pretty convoluted stuff. I don't know. Because like this is always going to be shown to like at this point, like if you were to publish or push this to production, like this, it would show these options to even the worker taking the orientation. If you really want it to just be like only for we really want it to only be for like the person making it. But we do this in other places too. Like you can see here, like edit mode. Like if it's in edit mode, then it will show you the editor, but we wouldn't show that to the person taking the orientation. So we'll continue. We will probably have like, if not edit mode, then like return quiz. So this will be like a little bit recursive, and that will probably say something like, so the component that displays it to the user, to the worker, is called viewer. And then here it'll probably take quiz. So this will actually want the quiz. And then so it'll take like the selected quiz. So we're gonna have to go out and like get it. Or do we? No, I've got an idea for that. I think if it's not edit mode, this component will not even be shown. So like, and we can sketch it out so that you can understand what I'm thinking about. It's always helpful. Well, let's go back to that other quiz that we had in here. So that's, well, we'll just go back to the database and grab it. Okay, so the idea, we'll just copy this for ease. And we'll just change this to, I don't know, 2. Its type would be link to, and its template would be link to as well. And then I'll have link to, and then it'll say like the quiz ID of what it's linking to. So we'll call that like ID 4 or whatever, right? Like that would be like the number in the database, or so then I'm thinking that like when we return the quiz JSON, like what we're seeing here, to be displayed in orientation, we have the backend just return. So like it would take this entire page, basically remove it and fill in the quiz in which it's linking to. And then everything would just flow. Is this too weird? And then you have to think about things like what happens when you delete the quiz that it's linking to. I don't know if we document that in the database somewhere, or if every time there's a deletion, we like search to see if anybody's including it. So we have to basically come up with like a compiler essentially for these quizzes, which can be fun. But like, is that over engineering? I do not know. But it's a good thought. It's a good thought, isn't it? I like the compile step. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. But I think that this makes sense so far, right? Like that's the general idea. And we just have a compiler. Compiler. It's nothing really that hard or whatever. Sending something in the chat. It's hello world. Maybe one day I'll get something back. Compiler thing, compiler idea. Cool. Let's keep doing that. So this will not, like, okay, so we have the viewer though. Then this viewer would have its own state. And that's a disaster. Communicating between the two, that's a total disaster. Nope. So we will just return null for now here, because this will never exist in a non-editor setting. So it doesn't really matter, because it might not even ever load there. But, you know, in the very strange chance that it does, you know, we'll just play it safe. So we'll just return null. So now we've got a template with a component in it. Let's just reload it for us. If we're in the maker, you can see, I think it's page component. All right, so we call, let's show this. So we say page component. So we pull out, we find the template and then we pull out the component from that template. That's how we get it. And I'm going to move it down here so our constants are hanging out together. I mean, you can see some of the like old kludge from just moving really, really, really fast. We will move it right here. Okay. I think everybody's happy. Okay. All right, moving on. Made a decision. Got to make a decision. Got to move. All right, so we selected this. So we need to get this component, select a quiz like that, that prop. So let's just, we'll drag it down here so we can see both at the same time. Page component, boom. So we're sending a prompt called select quiz. Now these prompts are given to every single page component. It's up to them whether or not they take advantage of them. So I suppose technically any of these templates could call the select quiz, but like whatever, they all have their independent jobs. They know what they need to do. So for now, we'll just put a function here, and then we'll say we'll console log selected quiz ID, and then we'll put in there quiz ID. And so now we need to go and like actually edit this page. So it'll be the current page that we're looking at. Or, yeah, well, we do it like this, and you can see this probably pulled up into its own function, but we can copy and paste that. So we duplicate the page that we're currently on, because that's what we're working on. And then we edit the data. So we'll do link to legal quiz ID. And then we'll just call update page. And then that page will be replaced. I guess this doesn't need to be in its own function because like you don't know which piece of information you're going to be updating, and it's really not that much of an imposition. So we also need to send the prop selected quiz. Oops. And then we'll just do Current page. Well, it's almost worth sending in the entire current page. We kind of do that a little bit. We'll do it here. So selected quiz will be current page dot link to, and that'll be the ID of the quiz that is selected. That way we can display which one we've actually clicked here. So we'll do that here really quick, and we'll just say something really basic, just for now, just to get us moving. So if selected quiz is equal to quiz.id, then show that little arrow. Otherwise, do not show that little arrow. So let's do that. Let's see what happens. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. It's starting to make more sense. So if I click here, you see the arrow. Click there, you see the arrow. Arrow. Okay, so yeah, you get it. You get it. I still feel like I want in the sidebar though. Look to see if there's anything interesting in the news. India fines Google 162 million for anti-competitive practices. That's a headline from TechCrunch. Specific to Android. I just feel like these companies are so big that these countries are just saying like, I can just make a law and just fine the shit out of them. It's mind-boggling, I swear. Anyways, let's see. Let me do that really quick. Excuse me, I need to blow my nose. Okay. So we're selecting here. We could change this. It wouldn't be a huge deal. It's fun. Okay. So, and so you can see like when we are setting and like updating this page, this will go ahead and save it for us so that we don't have to worry about that. We can look at this function too, just to get a better idea. So, we, set the current page to this new page. And then we get pages. Yeah, anyways, we do this work. So we go and we find the ID in the list of pages. We find the ID that we want to change, and then we, the index should be renamed actually. It's a little confusing. So the index of the page that we want to change. So then we set the page at that index to the new page that we've just created, which is the param up here. And then if we are not going to save now, because we debounce this, then we save it, then we debounce it and we save it, a few seconds later. Otherwise, we go ahead and we save. And it's, it's all pretty simple. So anyways, we are now selecting this quiz. Now the question is like, how do we display that information? So now we kind of need to create like that compiler, right? So where that stuff gets fed, we can kind of look at with this process here. So let's shrink this thing. It's enormous. So go to orientation controller. Let's look for the show. So we come down here. So this is where we're going. We're finding out like, and we've showed it before, but I'll show it again. So we come in here. Like this is the unique hash, you see, for this particular site. So this is the site ID, and then this is the hash that refers to it. So it's like not incremental, so you can't guess it, you know. And then we have a ref. So we have two refs here. That's kind of a little bit of a boo-boo. So here, this SID, we come in here and yeah, so we find it by SID, and then we like blindly rescue here. So then I guess, yeah, like if we can't find it, then we like throw our own custom 404, which literally just shows the number 404. This is to restart an orientation, which we don't need to really get into right now. Then we get the worker that's currently present because we would have set that on the session. And we can skip some of this, but basically it's going to come down here, set the worker to at worker, set orientation to at orientation. I'm kind of walking myself through it because I've sort of forgotten. It's like if we don't have an orientation, then we're going to go and create one. So let's see, this orientation has a quiz ID. So it's the site quiz ID. And then when we actually show this, will be orientation show. And then this is like where it all gets rendered out. So right here, where you're looking for the orientation data field, it's like this is the information. It's like a list of the information that we collect from the worker when they go to sign up. It's been a long time since I've been in this code, so I think it's actually start where we're going to go and display stuff. So yeah, this is where we like render the React component. Orientation. Okay, so the quiz here. Okay, I get it. Yeah, so def start is kind of where all this stuff happens. So this is where we set the actual quiz. So this is where we're going to want to like quote unquote compile the quiz just in case there is like a link to in there. Because we don't want to save the compiled version because, or do we? No, like if the embedded quiz or the embedded training like parent changes, we want to select like the newest one. So we don't want to just say that, we just want to do it dynamically. So orientation.quiz. Let's go into the orientation model and see what that looks like. So I'm trying to figure out if we want to write the compiler or we want to have the compile method here in the orientation, or if we want to have it on the quiz. I think we just want to have it on the quiz. It makes the most sense. So quiz, we can just write our compiler here. And we want to denote it as like a significant action. No, it's not really. Because like it's not saving any data. You know, it's not overwriting anything. As you can see, here's where we translate via AWS. Here's where we translate via Google. So that's translated from English to Spanish And you know, we can select any language really. We just don't allow that at the moment. Let me push this down just sort of get it out of our way. So the compiler is going to say quiz is equal to self.quiz. And quiz is the column where the actual like JSON data is stored. So now we're going to want to iterate over this. And this is like probably the dumbest version of this, right? This is the dumbest version of it. So we'll stay naive. It's more fun that way. So we'll say quiz, and quiz is an array of pages. So quiz, and then I guess we want to map it. So the syntax between between Ruby and JavaScript, I keep getting confused. So we have a page here, and then if a page is type is equal to link to, rather if it's not, return page if page is not linked to. Otherwise, or if page.link to is nil. We can just say, we can just do it like that. All right, so now we're safe. So now we have page, and we'll get link to is page.link to. Now we want to go and like look up this quiz. So now we're going to want to say quiz or quiz find link to. Being a little bit verbose here for YouTube and my own sanity. So now, if we were to just, yeah, we basically want to say, like what I'm wondering, actually, if we just like throw open a terminal really quick. So what I'm expecting this to render, oops. So let's just say that we return this. So link to quiz. So that's the actual like quiz data. And then we'll just return quiz here, right? Not necessarily verbose, but like just roll with it. We just do a Rails or like an IRB. So I'm expecting proposed quiz to equal an array of an object. So A is, we'll just put in some BS. And then we'll have another page of B is 1, or we'll just say A. Then I'm expecting another array that has like C, or, right, that makes sense. Like this here, this will be a page, and all its page data, page, and then like embedded page. But I want to form this until like the data structure that we come to expect, so that there's like really no changes as far as like how we're displaying it. So propose quiz, and then can we just call it flatten on this? Yep, it's that easy. Okay, cool. So then we'll just do flatten. And then we'll return that. Like, is that the whole thing? So it's like kind of anticlimactic, right? So yeah, so like, let's see if we refresh this. It creates a lot of copies, as you can see, which is probably not great, but it gets the job done. Which again is the point. So here we have our link to. So this is ID 7 linking to ID 6. Let me make sure I got that right. Yeah, so we're in Hello YouTube and we are linking to child. Okay, good. Like we need to filter out Hello YouTube because like, you can't link to yourself or just go in an infinite loop. Be in a lot of trouble that way. So now let's throw open the Rails console. Let's just do quiz last, and that's ID 7. Okay, so that's what we expected. We'll say quiz or parent quiz, pquiz, pquiz.compile. Nope. Oh, it's a private method. We don't want it to be private. So we want to call it externally. So we'll just move this down. Again, we're just adding space in here. This is reload, whoa, reload, pquiz, and then pquiz.compile. So unknown, oh, right, because this is a hash, actually, not silly. So type, this would be, oops. So we want to reload. Okay, and then pquiz compile. All right, so we got something here. And it looks like it didn't do what we wanted. It's not so surprising. Oh, we don't want to return up here. We want to just go next. Or, I always get that confused. Like if you're inside of a block, I think you just next like that. So we don't want to like return from the compile. That's what it's doing. So reload, compile. That's better. So we have question 0, and you can see in here, make sure we're hide this gear. That's what we came to expect. That's this page. And then this is the link to bit. And it looks like it did not work. So and then this is the question down here. Let's just do this and then do, well. So, silly mistakes. Template is linked to, type is linked to is there. Well, here we also need to, it's like it didn't get there. But didn't was an error either. Just put in a little line. So again, we still have type link 2, which should have disappeared. Sometimes you gotta like, I mean, that's probably my mistake. Just jump out of here. Oh, mapping can be kind of funny. So maybe they're not even, oh, they're not symbols. Ugh, always gets me. Very silly stuff. It's okay. Okay, now we're talking. And so we don't want to just set it to this quiz. We want to set it to this quiz's quiz column. Now fix that. Now we will reload. Now we will compile. That looks better, but I already see a problem, which is that we're going to have duplicate IDs with the same integer because they're stupidly incremented. But that might not matter. So let's see what we got. If we just do, I mean, I can see it here. But to make it better for YouTube, let's do compile and then we'll map page and then page template data and then content. Right, so like make sure you wear high vis gear, roofers, page 1, page 2, page 3, and then the final question. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So that's our compilation step, if you will. Now there's more that needs to go into it, like how do we know which to include? Like right now, we have like a really basic solution to where like this link 2-bit, it's like it's always going to refer to like this one single child. But like what if the person taking this quiz or orientation or training is not a roofer? What if they're a plumber, right? Like, do we want to link out to that? And like, if so, how and when do we do that? So like some piece of like metadata that we collect is that we collect the subcontractor, and then that subcontractor is a name. So let's see. I can show you subcontractor and sort of like what that data looks like. So we know, like if we go to orientation last, right? Okay, so that's orientation that we took in the last live video. So we just call that Ori. We do Ori worker.subcontractor. Oh, well, we should. Oh, there's not a worker attached to it, which means like we went to the orientation page, but like we didn't actually fill out the data there. So orientation where worker ID is not null last. And yeah, okay. And then we'll call this Ori. Then we'll do Ori worker, whoops, Ori worker subcon. Okay, so like the subcontractor that I've selected was just like one of our test subs, which really doesn't mean anything. Oops. Right, so like this is data we pull from like a third-party vendor, and then I'm sure we'll get to it in like a different video or like a different feature that we're going to build. But right now, that's all the data that we have. So we need to like come up with some sort of mapping to figure out like, well, what is test sub company 0? Like, are they a roofer? So we need to be able to like take the type of a subcontractor and relate it to the type of a child training. So it makes this not seem like as good an idea as maybe it used to be. But right now what we've done is like we've given ourselves like the ability to like embed a training in another, which is kind of powerful. Something that we can work from. So like, so this is useful if let's say that you're on like job site A come up here. So if you're on job site A and job site A wants to, because it's unique. Well, okay, so let's say that like job site A is a hospital, and then there's like a child training that is specific to like healthcare work, right? Because like there's some special parameters and like safety measures that you need to be aware of when you're on those job sites, because like different environments within that facility might have to be sterile. So maybe you want to include that bit here without having to like recreate it every single time. So that's kind of what we've done, but we've fallen short of our original goal. So this is a link to type. Maybe we should have a type of link to. A type of link to would be specific to JSSP or job specific safety training. So we've gotten halfway there, I think, is probably a good way to put it. So we've got like main trainings, child trainings, and then specific child trainings. We've got like 3 types now. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Lots to do. Let's take a Twitter break. Let's take a Twitter break. Find out what's going on in the world. If I see anything interesting, I will be sure to let you know. But for now, we're gonna go to Twitter while we think. We're in the tweet lane. Tweet lane. Get in the tweet lane, people. Check the Twitter. Let's see. Macy's is getting ready for Christmas. Good to know. Hmm. What kind of like royalty-free music is there? Like, can we play that? Do we think we can play that? Where do you find royalty-free music? Can we add this as an audio? Let's see. Let's add audio. or an OBS over here. Audio output capture. Okay. Oh, guess you have to buy it. Oops. Well, we don't want to do that. This is a startup YouTube channel. No copyright music. Let's see, what's that about? Hopefully I won't get banned for playing this. Let's see if I can hear it on the stream. Hopefully I won't get banned for playing this. Let's see if I can hear it on the stream. No, it sounds terrible. Terrible. Sorry if I hurt your ears. All right. Just gotta think. Gotta use our brains. It's the best course of action here. I'm thinking. Getting married in 8 days, which is very soon. Exciting and very soon. I don't think that so much changes, like, well, not about the wedding thing, but like about what we're looking at here. Well, let's put it back on the screen. We could just have like a button for like embed a different training, like a sub training, and then or just go to JSSP. So like we wanted to create a JSS, so we can like leave it as we have it right now. But like, let's say that we're gonna go to JSSP. So if we're building a training, so if we like want to do and build a new training, we want to denote it as JSSP. JSSP. We don't really need to do that. So if we're at roofers, we want to like specify this as roofers patch, just whatever's in the title, because that doesn't really matter. So I think we should have like a checkbox here. This is JSSP, and then you select the category. Okay. And we'll just hard code the categories for now. But the categories will be because we need to relate a category to category needs to be related to a subcontractor. It needs to be related to the training. So I almost want a table of these. So let's do that. We can generate a migration. Create JSSP categories table. Now I'm a terrible migrator. I break a lot of rules. Create table. See, like I already mistyped it. So let's actually just delete this and start over. And is that what we want to call it? I think so. So references subcontractor. And it references quizzes. And it references account. So it's like it's just a junction table. And then like the category name. So let's roll that. Let's see what happens here. Rails DB migrate, and we might take a little food break because I'm getting hungry, dude. Yeah, I got like an old database in here, sort of, kind of. It always does this shit. I should just commit it, but I just haven't. So let's see what that looks like. So we want to generate Rails, Rails G model, JSSP categories. I don't love that name. I just want to say it. It could change. We could do skip it because we already created the migration. JSSP category. We can go to models. Let's run the migration again so that we can get the annotations. It won't actually run, it'll just annotate the file for us. So we should see that change noted in the console here. Oh, migrate. Okay, yeah, so that was annotated, and then load file system changes. So we'll say, I always get this verbiage wrong, but belongs to subcontractor, belongs to quiz, belongs to account, and that's it. So if we were to Rails C, so if we were to go and create a JSP category, okay, there we go. So create, and it'll be subcontractor, subcontractor first, and sub, and then quiz will be quiz find, because the one that we're working with is 6. See the ID there. And then account will be first. There's only one account, so. And then the name will be roofers. Can't write subcontractor ID. Is it like got to be plural? Let's see. Is it has one or belongs to? Let's look it up. Everybody needs to know, right? Here we go. Oh, convoluted answer. Okay, Rails guy doesn't help me, whatever. But it's like forever ago. Essentially the same thing. The only difference is what side of the relationship you were on, right? That's what I thought. So if the user has a profile, then the user class you'd have has one profile. And in the profile, you'd have belongs to user determined. So which one has got profile ID? So we could say the user has a profile because the profiles table has the user ID. If the column or call profile ID on the users table, we would say the profile has a user belongs to has one. Oof, so backwards. So here, this is a better example, I think. So create table of users has an account ID. Right. So this is, I thought this was right. So, and then it should be singular. And we have quizzes ID, subcontractors ID. So did the migrate, was the migration wrong? Let's, oh yes, we like mixed plural and such there. So subcontractors plural ID, that should be subcontractor ID. It should be quiz ID. So, okay, yeah, we just got it wrong. It's just, it's so hard to find, dude. So we'll just Rails DB roll back and then we'll fix it. Subcontractor, quiz, account, and save. Now rerun the migration. And then we'll jump. Excuse me. Oops, Rails C. Quiz. Quiz ID. Oh, belongs to quiz. There we go. Boom. All right, we got one inserted. So then if we go JSSP category last, that's what we just created. Let's say JS subcontractor. That subcontractor, and then quiz is that quiz. All right, so on and so forth. And okay, you get it. Okay, I think this works. And then account belongs to this account. Cool. I think that makes a lot of sense as of this moment, but that could change in 5 seconds. So let's go to dump that. Get out of there. Get out of there. So how do we want to display this to our user? So if we're here in Hello YouTube, we need to filter this out. Here's what we'll do. We will have, I kind of hate to split all these like things up, but if we Rails G controller, API v1, JSSP categories, controller, is that how you do it? I think so. Oops. And we want the controller. Is it singular? That's supposed to be singular. No, it's plural. Okay, good. All right, so now we just want to have a def index. We want to categories equals current count JSSP categories. And then that's pretty much it. So then we just want to render JSON and categories, and then categories. Okay, something like that. So now we need to really account to JSSP categories. So account. So it has many JSP categories. So now we're back, Rails C. We should have a count of 1. So like account first.jsp categories. Count should be 1. Perfect. Good. So they're related. Now in our routes file, we need to go and specify this resource. So we go to API, blah, blah, blah. Resources. Don't love the name. Don't love the name. And okay, so we'll save that. So the thing I usually do is I just go to like localhost and then some random URI, and then this will just show all the routes we have available. Maybe there's a better way to do it, but categories. So yeah, like we have all these. Probably shouldn't because like they're in end 404s, but yeah, it's fine. So if we go back to our template, we want to fetch quizzes. We also want to fetch our JSSP categories so that we can have the user select them. And so these should be asynchronous. That should do it. There we have it. So this category is named to roofers and refers to quiz ID 6. Okay. So now when we're linking to, so like select quiz, these things very well may change. So we can have a select quiz, select category, selected category. So we've got our quizzes here. Let's just title this. Put a little, all the styling really doesn't matter at all. Not for now anyways. So child trainings, call it that. And then we can reuse this item on BR one at HR. Call this JSSP categories. And we'll have it to where, do we want to be able to select one or both? So like if there's not a category for this particular type of worker, do we want them to go into another child training or just like skip the whole thing, right? We can see we want to iterate over this here, and then it's called, rename that, call it cat. It has an ID and a name. And we'll just throw in quiz ID just so we can see it. Or a category ID, cat ID. Just for our benefit. And then we actually need to add a key so that React doesn't bitch at us. Call it cat ID. We'll call this quiz. Call this link to, just in case those quizzes or those keys exist elsewhere, but I don't know, maybe they're keyed off of the component in which they're located. I'm not sure. So we have this random one up here, which we'll have to filter out. Getting our categories. Okay, so you see I say to jump, like if the category doesn't exist for that particular job site training, then it just skips to the next. I think that that's like the most reasonable thing to do. Um, let's go with that for now. Let's go with that for now. Check some messages here. Let's. Oh, we need a bathroom break. Let's go with like an icon. I'm taking a bathroom break. Bath, toilet icon. Yeah, let's do this one. Download the PNG. Just download it for free. Let's add an image. The image can be, oh, we can add SafetyNow. Ooh, that's big. A little watermark over here. Boom. Let's add another image. It's should have gotten the white one so you can see it, but this will get the point across. All right, I'll be right All right, we're back. We went to the bathroom. We got some spam messages in the chat. We have to ban that guy. So now, let's see. How do you ban people? How do you ban people? Oh, this is interesting. This is what I'm looking for. All right, we're going to try and build this. I'll show you in a second. Got our first commenter. Unfortunately, they got to go. Excuse me. Oh, I guess they already got banned. Nope, there they are. And okay. All right. Back to it. Let's see. So I got JSSP categories and then child trainings. So I should be able to select between each one. So when we click on it, we want to select the category like so. Man, we got a turkey sandwich, Devia. It's great. These are great. Incredible. Love them. So just thinking while I was away. So I think what we want to do we want to create a link to object because it's going to have more than just a little bit of data in it. So this will be quiz ID, JSSP category ID, so then find other instances of linked to. So we create a new JSSP page. This is already included, right? Yeah, this is basically included. Might not even need this method, but we'll keep it until we don't need it. So we're linking to a category, we want to not link to a quiz ID. And vice versa. And then select a quiz ID, select a category ID. And then in templates, what do we give it? Oops. Select a category, select a quiz. I should do it. Click, nothing. I'm just realizing that we shouldn't be able to choose a specific JSSP category. It should just go to the category. The selection happens later during the orientation. So we might just want to kill this and say select category. Let's just say we don't iterate here. Select category would be true. And let's bring this down here. Takes a lot of back and forth. Planning would kind of cut out a lot of this, but that's how it is. That's how I work through it, right? And let's also turn on some debugging here so that I can see the object that we're creating as we change these selections. So that's in application. Here we go. Debug true, reload. So now we can toggle debug here. Okay, so I understand now. So if we killed this page, okay. Oops, something blew up. Okay, cannot read quiz ID. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So like pages before we added the link to object were made without the link to object. Now we're trying to look for it. So we kind of either have to create a process that goes and like updates them with all of the sort of base properties that we would expect, or we just have to optionally chain them, which is easier. Right, so like if this is null and we try to access categories, it will not do that. This is basically like an if statement saying like if the link to exists, then access the categories key on this object, otherwise don't. So that keeps us safe. So if we go here, so now we have a new JSSP page built with the data structure that we come to expect. So both of these are null, so nothing's been selected and nothing shows up here. So we have to go to the link to type. So now there's no JSSP categories because we removed that, but there are child trainings. So again, we can choose between JSSP or a specific child training. So we're, kind of doing more than one thing here. So let's choose. Let's get this like ship shape so it doesn't just look like hell. Because it definitely looks like hell. If we go to pull this down, child trainings. Okay. So we'll get rid of this because none of that exists anymore. We will get a class name and margin x is 2, border is 2, border is gray 100, hover border yellow 600, cursor pointer or cursor pointer, and then rounded large, and padding is heavy. That ought to do it. Link to JSSP trainings. Okay. So that's like essentially a button. We could actually make it a button. But anyway, so child trainings, we will just have their classes look like this. And then we'll add like a little bit of padding so we can read a little bit better. Okay, so they're a little bit rounded off. We could have class space y, and then space of 2. Little separation there. There we go. Much more readable. So if we pick this, so we get our arrow, so we did it, as we'd expect, right? So quiz ID is 6. But if we want categories, we expect this to be set to true and the quiz to be unset. So that's what we need to write right now. So, and there's also no click here. So on click, we have select category true. Select category. There's no ID. It's basically just saying quiz ID is null, and then category and then yeah. Select, unselect, right? Okay. And so then sneeze. Excuse me. Then select category, or not the best name, but we'll roll with it for now. So this is selected, now it's unselected. Boom. So now we're toggling all of these. Okay, good. And this should be saving. Okay, good. Oops. Okay. So let's add another. All right. All right, so if it's a JSSP, we also need to update the compiler. Quiz, compile. So it's not just link to, it's link to and then we'll just leave it a link to there, like that. So the link to will be this. And let's see, what's the key? It'll go to the accounts categories. Or JSS or quiz ID. So then that brings us back at the parity with what we had before. So that's updated for that. So it's categories, it's like the categories are attached to the account, like they're not down to like the site level. Because like an account has multiple sites. So like if you wanted to have a JSSP for each individual site, that would be like presumably more work. You might have to keep track of the category ID, right? They say that we save that for a different day. It sounds like a little bit of unnecessary complexity. So JSP categories allows us to tie subcontractor to a particular quiz or like JSSP quiz training. So we're going to have to create a way to do that mapping at some point. Not right now. So in the compilation step, we would probably get a copy of the orientation, which is fine if it's nil. Well, I would say raise exception if ori is nil. And if the orientation is nil and page link to categories, well, it's not at the, yeah. Not link to categories without an orientation record. Okay, so that's our error message, and we'll raise that. Make this a standard error. So if you're trying to like load or like compile with categories, but you didn't give us an orientation to compare that against, then there's really nothing that we can do. But in the event that you did, we have a decision to make here, I think. So ori worker subcontractor bit page to Oh, I'm not thinking here. So we want to have um so we want to take the subcontractor, find the JSSP category, and then find that quiz, right? So then we can load that quiz. Yeah, okay, got it. So the decision that we have to make is if the page is linking to categories, then we need to do this. Otherwise, we need to do that. So we need to find current, well, current account is not available here, but ori.account.jssp categories. Where subcontractor is the Ori workies, the Ori worker subcontractor. So then we're getting the JSSP cat, and then that'll do link to quiz is equal to JSSP category quiz. So we can do this, and then quiz. Like that. That ought to work. Does an orientation have an account? It does have an account. Good. All right, so then that should fill in for the categories. And if we're ever trying to link to a quiz, phone call, pardon. All right, life update. We got the rehearsal dinner plans. My mom was calling. She's setting all that stuff up, so it's all very exciting. Next Thursday, that's what I'll be doing. So probably won't be here Thursday, but I'll see what I can do. All getting very real, very exciting. So that's good. What's next? What were we doing? Sorry to leave you hanging while all that was happening, but duty calls. So, getting beer with my dad today. Camera's up here. Getting beer with my dad, so that's always a good thing. Oh, oops. All right, so yeah, let's see. We've got maybe 45 minutes or so. So we'll see what we can do. So okay, we just finished kind of updating this compiler. We haven't tested it, but we're going to kind of roll. We do have we have one JSSP category. Okay, so this is the category's name is roofers, and to count one. So it's on the account. And it points to quiz ID 6. Okay. So part of the well, we'll get to that later. Okay. So if we were to, so this is saved. So let's go. Let's try to compile. Let's test it. So quiz find 7. Quiz compile. Quiz, and then index should be 2, right? No, I'm sorry, it should be 1. So it's a link to, and it's linking to categories. So if we're linking to categories, then we're going to go and find the categories that match the orientation. So if we were to actually compile this quiz, we would get an error. So quiz compile, it should raise, and it, well, we need a default value here, nil. And then unknown methods. All right, so we got a little bit of a bug. So page link to. Oh, so we just need to do this below. We filter those out. You see, so we only want to apply this error to pages that are linked to. So, oops. We will reload, set the quiz, and then we will compile. Right, so that's exactly what we expected. So then if we go and we get orientation, and it's orientation 2, I just happen to know that. So Ori worker subcontractor, that'll be subcontractor ID 1. And then so if we do our JSSP category last, this is subcontractor ID 1. Okay, so this is compilable. If we give it to Ori. And undefined method quiz for JSSP. So if we find that JSSP again, and then quiz, so it should find it. Quiz, found that. So undefined method. Oh, okay, so it's an active record. Oh, so we called where, we should just call first. Pardon? All these are just little mistakes that people make all the time, but they never show it, or I don't know, maybe they're just geniuses and they aren't perfect. I doubt that's true, but at least you're getting to see how the sausage is made, so to speak, right? So you need to set the quiz, and then quiz compile Ori. Now it's compiled. So that pointed to so if we map again page template data content, that's exactly what we would have expected. It should have the same result, right? But it's just going through the JSSP category. So we could hypothetically like link that to a different quiz, but we only have the other one right now. But you know, the only other thing that we have, so is like if there's not a JSSP, like what if this returns nothing, right? Like what if there's no category? So because they might not have set that category. I mean, that's fine. We just want to basically return nothing. So like we don't want to return anything, right? So we almost like want to just say next nil, right? And then we want to filter out the nils, you know? Or you know what? We could actually just keep everything the same, return an empty array, and then that should give us that same result. So we can test this by saying JSSP category first, because there's only one. And then we can set, no, we don't want to do that. We want to do the Ori worker subcontractor. And we want to set the subcontractor find, or just like last, which I think is a different ID. So now there's not going to be any relationship between the subcontractor and the JSSP category, so there will be no quiz to find. So now we should just get these two pages, the first and the last page. So, right. So that's what we'll be filtering out. Do we save that? No, so we want to save the Ori. Or actually, I'm sorry. We want to get the worker. Worker equals Ori worker. Worker.subcontractor equals. Okay, and then worker save. And then Ori or quiz compile. And then that will probably give us, or we'll do it like this. Oh, we need to reload. We want to Ori equals, and then we want to compile. We want to do quiz equals, and then quiz compile Ori. Undefined method quiz for nil class on 72. So things have found a category, which is odd, where, and we can run this ourselves. So if we say JSSP category where contractor is worker subcontractor worker.subcontractor. Right, so it's nil, which is kind of what we expect. Oh, and so we just so silly. All right, so then a reload, and then a quiz equals, and Ori equals, and quiz compile. I cannot link the categories without an orientation. Oh, right. And then give it the Ori. And then let's, so we can, yep, there you have it. So like this is the first and last page. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. So this is working well. That's good. So we made some progress here. So when we're going to display this, we need to make sure that we display the compiled version versus anything else. So we do that in the orientation controller, and then it's def start, and then right here where we set the quiz, we want to do compile. Well, the orientation is going to go get the quiz record. So now we have a quiz record here. So we're going to have to compile. We could say like compiled. One moment. All right. Sorry about that. Wedding stuff, man, is coming often and fast. So it's obviously the perfect time to start a YouTube channel, right? Well, there you go. All right, let me switch this camera over a little bit. I'm gonna move it from here to here because I keep looking in this direction. Oh, that's nice. Cool. So anyways, back to it. Compile quiz will be the quiz compile orientation. So that's how we get the compile version of that. And now we need to pipe the compile quiz into start, just like that. That's all we have to do. That should take care of that. So now we can test. Go to localhost demo here. We are going to remove the face. No face requirement right now. That's just not what we're working on. So we'll do CSOM. And we'll do, this should include the JSSP quiz. Bug. Okay, undefined compile for array. So, oh, right, because let's see. Yeah, we just don't need to call that on the actual quiz JSON object. Let's see. All right, so now we're compiling the actual quiz record. That's where that method exists. So we'll reload. All right, so we expect 5 pages. Well, maybe we don't. It skipped it. So let's just start over. So this should give us other pages, right? Because okay, so this is linked to sub-0. We'll select sub-0 then. Oops. Hide this. Didn't work. Why? They're equal. Put a breakpoint in there then. All right, step over. Whoa. See. How do we step over that? So is it not? I guess it's not published, actually. That's definitely why. Very silly. Okay. Duh. That was sort of dumb of me. So there are quiz errors, and like we do this detection on each of these pages to make sure, like, if it's a page that has a template that has an image in it, then you've inserted an image. Some basic like error checking like that. And so this thing is thinking that we haven't added enough questions. So let's go find that code. Let's go to, this question doesn't have enough choice options. So it's down here. So we don't want to do this check. We want to do a check for this. But for now, we want to ignore it if page type is equal. If it's not equal to the link to, that should clear that up. Yeah. So now it's green, so now we can publish. We can confirm. This is making sure that you know that it's publishing to a site that's currently live or a site that has that quiz listed as its quiz. So if we go back to SafetyNow here, then we need to clear our cookies because it's got a because it's already created an orientation and tied it to an orientation that's tied to tied to an old quiz that we just overwrote. So we'll just here we go. Now we're rolling. There we go. Refresh training page 1, 2, 3, quiz question, and we passed. Very good. Very good. One small change I think we have to do here is, so when we do orientation.create, we save a copy of the quiz that they took so that we always have an exact copy of precisely the information that they were given. I think, or maybe we just specify the quiz ID. I think that is what we do. Which is kind of a problem because, like, if it links out to something, like, we want to know. I mean, no, that should do it. That should do it. That should be fine. Never mind. Okay, I like that. So now we got something working. So now we need to figure out how to validate some of this stuff. What to do now? What isn't working? What's not going to work? What happens if we're in presentation or preview mode? So again, we don't display anything in this case when you're actually viewing it, right? Like this would be compiled and it would link out to the sub quiz. So I think when you're previewing, we don't really want to allow this to be previewable. Like that's one thing that we could pretty quickly change. So for previewing, I don't know. I don't want to fix that right now. That might be more than we need to bite off. Well, so we can fix the preview by just like not returning nil, right? Remember, like we return null right here. So let's say, and this will never show unless you're in an uncompiled state, which is the state that we're in here. Should we be in an uncompiled state? So like we had this thing called mobile viewer, and that's where these are shown. So like the English version, Spanish version, right? And this is where we pipe in the quiz. So we should pipe in we should just compile it just like that. To be assumed. And that's sort of what we wanted to happen. we could also not throw this error. And instead we could we could flip this work. Let's see. So now this is the compiled version. Wait. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is like the underlying thing, right? Or like where it originally said inner text here, I think. What do we want to do there, though, dude? I think we should get some other kind of error. Hmm. I don't like this. This page should disappear. Oop. So like if we go and compile this back down here, I did learn the word kismet from the show Dexter. That's a fact. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. My one viewer out there. Let's see. So if we reload and then we do quiz find line, and we pull up content. Looks like it's time for me to go get some beer, folks. I gotta wrap it up. If you're ever in the Wilmington area, be sure to go and get yourself some tropical lighting from the Spigot, also known as Wilmington Brewing Company. Great spot. So this is what we expected. So I'm not entirely sure why it's showing this, except perhaps in mobile viewer, we're giving it the quiz ID, initial page. So it's going and finding the params, like what is actually, this is it. So these are iframes, in case you were wondering. The initial page index is 1. So what is this? JSON. Let's read this. So yeah, there's only 2 pages in here. So I'm not sure how it's showing that, but it's time for me to sign off. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back soon enough with some more updates as we continue to build out this LMS feature and continue living life. All right. Thanks for watching. I will see y'all in the next one. See ya.